It actually seems like up at the 1K right now, the first varsity crews have all had a good bit of banter together, and it looks like they're going to be doing another shorter, friendly scrimmage piece on the way back. Coach Hughes is aligning them right now, and it looks like they are off. So if you're down at the finish line, you're going to be able to catch some more action from those first varsity crews coming down for a 1K friendly race. That's a really great sign of the sportsmanship in this sport. Teams really have a lot of fun going out. We have so few opportunities to race each other. It's really great when you get to have some competition. So the third varsity crews are back down here at the starting line. The first varsity crews are doing that extra little 1K in there, and these guys are lined up and locked on. We should see a start in the next minute or so.
And if we're about 250 meters away, but it looks like GW is in the white Hudson in lane 1, Drexel is in lane 2, and Princeton is in lane 3. And now we'll introduce Princeton 3. At Cox is Nina Sola.
That's a Deerfield product right there, right, Jamie? Yeah, Nina Sola out of Deerfield.
Then we have Andrew Morgan at Stroke, Hunter Johnson at 7, Tassilo von Mueller at 6, Seb Benzakri at 5, Ryan Hutzley at 4, Frederick Joan at 3, Jonathan Lord, who was last year's esteemed commentator, at 2 seat, and Jens Clausen in the bow.
Man, Jamie, how many Germans do we have in that boat? There's got to be at least 4 or 5 in there, right? Certainly quite a few.
So it looks like the crews are just getting their final alignment and will be off very soon.
Yeah, we've had some, and there's the flag. The crews are off. Let's see if the Tiger 3V can get as fast of a start out as the first varsity and second varsity have. We had some really impressive first 250, first 500 meters from those two crews. So let's see if the 3V can capitalize on what appears to be some really good training for starts by these Tiger heavyweight crews. And the boats are all through the first 250 meters. It looks like, once again, Princeton has taken a lead right off the bat with a really furious start. Looks like the Tigers are actually overstroking the other two boats, which may explain some of the advantages they've gotten right out of the gate. But they are up, and they are up big early. It looks like the Tigers have already a full length coming through the first 250 meters. They might even have some open water.
So right here at about the 300, the Tigers have broken open, and then GW is in second by about half a seat over the Drexel 3V.
Yeah, and you can see Stroke C Andrew Morgan also laying down a really long rhythm. He's got excellent suspension through the drive, and he is propelling his boat forward through these first 500 meters.
After a really aggressive start where the Tigers were at a very high stroke rate, they seem to have settled down at about a 34 and are using a really long rhythm to push them out to what seems to be almost a length of open, and right now they're passing through the 500 meter mark. Although also right now passing through the 500 meter mark is a dogfight between Drexel and GW. It seems like GW may have about a seat on the Drexel 3V, but it's definitely going to be a race throughout this 2K.
Yeah, GW is definitely overstroking Drexel right now. It looks like the Tigers are even understroking them as well, although Princeton is comfortably in the lead. GW putting on a big press right now to move out on Drexel. They've taken 4 or 5 seats in the last 10 strokes even. Really, really big rhythm coming out of that GW boat. They're really handling these conditions well. As we mentioned at the end of the last race, we should see some wind pick up. In fact, there's some dark water and some puffs coming up ahead on the race course. Let's see how these crews handle this challenging conditions.
So the Tigers in the last 250 have really hit the gas, and they're about at least a length and a half of open over the rest of the field. And like Henry was saying, these GW rowers have also really hit it, and now they're opening up a bigger lead over Drexel, and it's probably half a length of open, and that gap is getting bigger. The GW guys are definitely overstroking the Drexel crew and taking seats with every couple of strokes.
Yeah, it seems like GW might actually be moving a little bit back into Princeton. Princeton still with about a length of open water coming into the 1,000 meter mark. These Princeton guys are really laying down some power into the headwind that's come up in the last couple of minutes here on the course. As we mentioned earlier, from about the 1250 to 250 meters to go, there's going to be a substantial headwind on this course. But you can see these Princeton guys are really laying their backs into it. And that 2C, Jonathan Lord, he's really putting some power into his strokes. And we're looking at GW right now. Looks like they're fading just a little bit. And it seems like Princeton has made a move and is really pushing away after that 1,000 meter.
Yeah, and Princeton right now is approaching the 750 to go, and they seem to be bringing their stroke rate up while GW is staying constant, and Princeton is definitely pushing the margin out. They have about 2 lengths of open over the GW crew, who seems to have responded with a bit of a move of their own, and they're getting to the 750 now, and they have about a length and a half or 2 lengths of open over Drexel, who is falling behind, but definitely keeping those catches sharp in what are definitely some challenging conditions.
Yeah, and in this heavyweight 3V race, this wind has really picked up. The Tigers seem to be really pushing down to try and get their bow moving through this headwind. GW doesn't quite seem to be handling this headwind as well. You can see their strokes are looking a little tougher into the headwind. Drexel is actually doing quite a good job in this headwind, but it might be too much of a margin for them to overcome. It seems like the baseline speeds of these crews this morning have just sort of made the field stretch out a little bit, and it looks like with 500 meters to go, Princeton is comfortably in the lead. GW is about to cross the 500 meter mark, and Drexel's a few strokes behind. We've got the Princeton heavyweight 4V and 5D crews coming back from their race. We'll see if we can give you an update on how that race went later on. Right now, it is all Princeton, though. They are approaching the last 250 meters. They've maybe got 400 meters, 300 meters left in the race. They are comfortably out ahead, multiple lengths of open water over GW. GW has a couple lengths of open water out on Drexel.
Yeah, in the last 500 meters, this field has really spread out as Princeton has kicked up the stroke rate and is approaching the last 250 meters. I think, just like the past 2 crews, they're going to race the clock here and kick up for a sprint and see what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really great opportunity, the first race of the season, so these crews have been itching all year long to get down into the really nitty-gritty of spring racing, and the Tigers have really brought it this morning. It's been really impressive to watch them row. We've got GW coming into the last 250 as well. The Princeton Tigers have really brought up the stroke rating. Those guys are flying towards the finish line. GW as well, they're kicking it up a few beats. We're seeing some wind dying down here at the finish line. It's a nice, much calmer last 250 meters of the course than the previous 500. Drexel's in the last 250 as well. They're definitely popping the stroke rating up. Princeton's almost through the line. They've got a couple more strokes left, probably 2 or 3 more strokes to the finish. This is a really impressive showing by the Princeton 3V. Really, really great day for them, and they're through the line.
We have about 5 or 6 more strokes for the GW guys who've definitely kicked it up in the sprint. Now that the wind's died down, their catches have really firmed up, and they're crossing the line now. And then we have Drexel with about another 5 seconds to go, and they've kicked it up for a sprint. They fell behind a little bit, but they've definitely kept it really clean throughout the whole race.
Yeah, really interesting last 500 there, because it seemed like the wind actually ended up picking up for Drexel coming through the finish line. We've got action on the flags now, which we did not have in the previous couple of races this morning. But a really great sprint from all those crews. You can tell, as tired as those guys are in the last 500 meters, once you see those red buoys, you really, really kick it. So we're going to head back down to the start. That is the conclusion of our men's heavyweight racing this morning. And we're hoping to bring you some openweight women racing. The openweight women are taking on Michigan and Brown. So this is a big season opener for them. Last year at NCAAs, we had a great showing from the Tigers, but an even better showing from Michigan and Brown. So this is a big race for Princeton coming up, and stay tuned in.
Yeah, and I know that Princeton and Brown will be racing for their annual trophy, so we'll see how the results play out.